All right. Hey there. Happy Sunday afternoon. This is, what is this? March 31st, 2024. And, yeah, I can seldom tell if this thing is actually live when it says it is, but we're going to pretend it's live, even though it is not giving me the reinforcement to believe it's live like I'd like. There we go. Now I'm sure that it's live. Anyway, hi again. This is Easter Sunday, March 31st, 2024. And I just kind of felt like doing another one of these little impromptu vertical live streams. So this is the THECXSTICK. This is the controller that came with the 400 Mini. And I've been waiting to do a bit of a teardown and find out what the guts are, see what's inside. It's made by PlayOn, so I'm expecting it's going to be comparable to the 2600 Plus inside. Don't know that for certain, but I think that's a logical or rational explanation that it's going to be similar inside. So, yeah, I'm just going to just have a little fun and tear it apart and see what the guts look like. What makes it tick? This ought to do it. Yeah. Left-handed mode is working for you, huh, Marquis? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Hey, John, how you doing? Oh, well, where's the where's the screw holes? I guess they're gonna be underneath these. So I'm gonna have to get inside of there. So let's see what we've got here. I've got a flat blade here that I think will do the job very well. Let's pull this one. Try not to stab myself in the process. Let's put in a smaller handle. And we're going to have to get these rubber feet off if we want to have any joy here. You know, talk about handedness there, and it reminds me, no matter what new device comes out, there's this lively debate about oh, it should be this handed, it should be that handed, the D-pad should be on this side or that side. And it occurs to me that I guess it does matter, but like when I was a kid, or even now, I play with a CX40 and I move the stick with my right hand and I hit the button with my left. So, and then, as soon as we had other types of controllers, like these things, right? I'd move with my left and buttons with my right. And it just feels, they both feel pretty natural to me. And I guess I get, like, if I had to do it this way, I can see this would be awkward if I'm holding it in my hand, right? So I'm right-handed. But on a D-pad, like, I don't think it matters, really. So imagine I held this upside down. Yeah, I'd have no trouble playing with this on a flat D-pad. On a stick, I think it matters, but I could D-pad with my right and button with my left. Yeah, I don't think it's... But on a stick, yeah, I can see how that would be a lifesaver for you. All right, let's get these little feet off. Try not to be destructive if we can help it. Yeah, there's some screw holes right down there. I'm just going to set these, I have a little tray. I'll set these right on the tray so I can use them again. A little excess sticky there. Yeah, we'll just leave it. We'll just leave it. Get this guy off. There it goes. And I don't know if anyone else has torn one. I'm not the first person on the planet to tear one apart. I've not seen the interior, but as I was kind of saying a minute ago, made by PlayOn, I pretty well expect it's going to have comparable internals to the CX40 Plus that came out with the 2600 Plus. Why would they reinvent the wheel if that is kind of working? And let's see, let's get in here. Last one. There we go. Yeah, all right, some adhesive. All right, so we got those 4 pads. Then we can get after it. That's deep in there. And we have so there's a lot going on. So we have directional, plus the cardinal directions, plus the button, plus the shoulder, plus these back buttons. So I think Did we count 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6, 7, 8. 8 buttons. So quite a step up from the 1 button of the CX40 Plus. Hope you're all having a nice, Easter if you celebrate such things. A lot of people had a nice 3-day weekend, I think. A lot of folks had Friday off, right? And, tonight, when I'm done with all this, I'm gonna go see that new Godzilla X Kong movie. I have tickets for that. Gonna go see that with a few friends. All right, so we got, the screws are out, so let's get this guy open. Yeah, it's already looking like the CX40. Let's flip this upside down because, yeah, so we have everything's tethered with a one little plug here. Let's get that off. Bosco just got back from watching that. Truly enjoyed it. You know, and that's good news, by the way. Thanks for that. I have yet to see the Godzilla -1. I missed it in the theater, and I thought, oh, it'll be out on streaming shortly, and it hasn't been. Although, didn't it win? It was like Oscars, I think, right? Yeah. So let's see. All right. Let's see what we got cooking here. So, that shoulder button is over here. All right. So there's very little in the way of mechanism for the shoulder button. Looks like you could pull the button out. How do you get that? Don't want to break it, but it looks like the button can be released somehow if I squeeze this. Anyway, it's just hanging on there. Looks like it's down in a little groove and it clicks in. No need to take it out, I guess. And the base, here's the operational portion of the base. I wonder if we'll see when we look, we'll see if the mechanism, the structure of that plastic, whether or not that has anything to do with what's going on over here. Oh, so for starters, here we go. So there's that shoulder button. So it's really just using the clickiness of the button, little switch, to put resistance on that. So I was worried. That was the thing I was most worried about. Was like, I'm gonna get that back together properly. Basco said you missed that as well. Yeah, it's still in. Yeah, I just haven't. And I have the what's it called, the AMC A-list thing, where you can see a bunch of movies for a flat fee. I just haven't gotten out to see it. I'm so still functional as is. So here's our home and back buttons. There's the board. The CXStick 2024 H is 1.6 millimeters. I don't know what the H is. Someone that knows more about such things will tell me. So some sort of a diagram of what's going on the board, I expect. Yeah, I'm the least technical person to understand all this shorthand. Maybe it's obvious to someone watching is screaming at me right now. These are kind of smaller screws, but I want to get those off too. So let's get a smaller bit. Let's go with this tiny guy. I think this will get the job done. Just take these off. Yeah. One. Is it just 2 screws? Looks like it. Yeah, it's lifting already. That's an economy of engineering. Most everything like this usually has 4 screws holding that all together, right? All right, so this should all now come apart. Yep. Oh, yeah. That's very CX40. Look at that. Or CX40 Plus is what I'm getting at. Look at this mechanism over here. What's going on here? So the button is secured up under this little arm. That's newish. And then the springiness is just provided by this little rubbery riser, it looks like. Look at that. Huh. Oh, so here we go. So here's how this was accomplished. So here's our 4 directionals. They are all contacts that are completed the circuit, or I guess grounding circuit, whatever you say. But everything else is a button, including top, west, south, and east. They have their own little teensy little micro switches on there, as well as the shoulder button. Yeah. Huh. For all the stuff this does, it's a very, I think I would say it's very well engineered. Let's go a little farther. Let's get this thing apart. So here's this little, here are the contact points. Get this off of here. Yeah, you know, as I get this far, I don't know that this this star assembly here has anything to do with anything other than just being resilient. Because if you have that kind of structure, of course, you're going to be it's going to be stronger than just like a single pin or a spike. But and this is like I'm looking at what's causing. You know, there's no springs like a CX10. Is there? It may be just. I mean, there's definitely a center shaft, but it may just be the elasticity of the rubber boot that provides the auto centering. Let's see. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Hey, Prime Rib popped in. Says, I remember for the NES the first time comparing their controller to the Atari and wondered what the heck could play anything with a D-pad instead of a joystick. And now look at us, right? Yeah. Yeah. I will so I was in high school when the NES came out, and my girlfriend's little brother, that was my main exposure to Nintendo NES and its controller. And I'll admit to being dubious as well. I saw like, what is this? It's like a flat block. Where's the controller? Because I mean, I grew up on arcades, and arcades had great big joysticks with giant ball tops. And then with the Atari, then you came down to they got rid of the ball top, but you still had a stick there. And then it's like, what is this little plus symbol? That's ridiculous. And now, look where we are. All right, I think I got all that apart. And yet, so if I just push up on the, yeah, that's all. I guess there's a central shaft. Let's see. So the button doesn't spin. That's one thing I'm noting. Look, it has little, what would you call them? Like orientation or registration pegs in there. So once it's in there, you can't, it's not free spinning inside of there. But otherwise, it looks like pretty close to a CX40. And then let's look at this central shaft here, which I find quite interesting. So does the boot come? Oh, here the boot comes off. Oh, there was 3 pieces in here. All right, there's that central. All right, that's the comparable. That's the comparable equivalent to that central shaft that you would see on a CX40, right? So, yeah. So it has. Let's see. It has these little ribs around it, but it looks like that's just to keep it from spinning. Oh, and look, the boot also has these little notches so it cannot rotate, I guess, inside of here. So how does this sit? Let's see. So has a way to keep it from spinning? Oh yeah, look, there's little pegs, little rubbery pegs in there that. Interesting. That's not what I was expecting at all. And then, though I'm not going to tear it apart, it looks like, oh yeah, definitely. So this ring can be removed. So there's little, just little latches here, and this, and that creates the textured groove here around the interior of the dashed line ring. Hey, what do we got? Let's see. The summoner said seeing this is just boggling my mind, to be honest. Hey, Jeremiah. Hey there, welcome. So did you have any of the problems other people are reporting? Can you define problems? Which problems? Are you talking like Bruce Lee problems and I can't go straight problems? Is that the things you're talking about? Let me know. Randy says, I remember being in high school at the time too, and just like you, my friend's little brother was playing Bomberman. Looks like fun. Yeah. I mean, I definitely appreciated the NES, but I was a holdout. I was already onto my home computer by then, the 400, 800. I had an 800 myself. And And even with that, I was using my CX40, so I was still kind of like, yeah, that's kids controllers. Hey, Pine Barren Patriot, how are you? I like D-pads too, but then I reverted back to the arcade joystick with the Genesis 6. Oh, yeah, yeah. That is what you were talking about, Jeremiah. Cool. Yeah, so, no, I saw some bigger creators who were talking about that. I saw, who did I see? I saw Metal Jesus talking about it. I saw John Hancock talking about it. And I know that Metal Jesus had said, after speaking with PlayOn, that if you put a light touch to it, if you don't lean the stick too hard in one direction, that it's designed to help you get diagonals. And when you push hard, I don't know how it does that. I mean, as we put it back together, maybe we'll try to intuit what they mean by that. But maybe I'm just not that rough with a stick. Bruce Lee is a little finicky anyway, because you have to do everything. You have to jump, duck, left, right, all with a stick. You don't have the benefit of a jump button or a duck button or anything. So, but I didn't find controls difficult. Those controls, right? So the only controls I found problematic were really accidental touches on all the other things. Oh, speaking of which, okay, this is more than just that interior decoration. This has to be separate because these, I don't know if you can see this, these have to be able to depress. And this little stalk here, here, and here, when you depress, they can push slightly. And that's what depresses these little buttons here. Okay. I would never in a bajillion years have thought of making those buttons, honestly. I'm still not certain. I love it. I'm still not certain it's the most ergonomic thing. I think when I was, I believe when I was taking an early look at what I thought the CX stick would be, that I said, oh, that's no problem. I never touch that stuff. But I do, but more often it's that shoulder button that was getting me, because the way I hold the controller like this, the pad of my my first knuckle here would bump into that. And it's not terrible because it's a second fire button, but if that fire button stops you from doing other things, or fires when you're waiting to fire, you're timing a Space Invaders shot and you're waiting, and you can only shoot one bullet at a time, or sometimes two, and if you fire too early, you've missed it. So I love the ability to unmap that shoulder button in every game you add, but I thought it was a miss to not allow that remapping in every game, including the 25 included. Now, anyone could say, well, John, don't worry. You can just, if you want to play Mule without having that button, just put your own ROM on there. I agree, but I think, I don't know, I guess I don't have a really good idea of what the demographics is for this, but I would bet fully half the people that buy the Mini only play those 25 games. And those people are going to have a subpar experience in terms of accidental button presses. They might. Let's say they might. I don't say they will. If they do, they have no recourse. They're going to have to just deal with it. But if they install their own game, they can modify it and change the mapping. You can disable everything other than this button if you want, or the back button. You can't get rid of the home button because that's how you get in and out. But you can remap the menu and you can get rid of all that, I suppose. I like that about it. Hey, Big Dave, thank you for popping in. Thomas says, I love the CX joystick. Yeah, I'm happy with it too. I've not had the problems that other people have had. Hey there, Pine Barren Patriot. Good to see you here. Babak Defender, or Babik, we'll just call you Defender. Said I had played hundreds of games with it. Yeah. All right, so, well, yeah, all right. It's, I was going to say it's not complex. I would say it's intricate, though there's an economy of design that, things have multi-functions. In a lot of cases in here, the structure and components provide elements like resistance, return to neutral. All that's done like pretty much with just angles on the shaft and the structure. The rubberiness of the boot is actually what's providing the auto centering. Now this was I didn't call this out in my review. It happens to everybody, but I don't know if you can see here, there's a little imperfection in my boot, almost like it came out of the mold hot. Can you see over here on the far left? I don't know if you can see that. There's a little notch there that kind of came out of it that like it, I don't know, got scorched or something as it was come out of the mold. But I mean, there are worse problems to have. I'm not crying about it, but Because I also got another one that came in that that really nice press package, and it didn't have that problem. So when I saw that it wasn't a universal defect, you know, I just chalked it up to, you know, early models out of the mold. You know. Julia said, "How did you set up your flash drive?" Manually. I actually did early on try to have ChatGPT write me a batch file that said, you know, write a Windows batch file that will sort files into folders based on the first letter alphabetically, but restrict. And I tried over and over. It just kept screwing stuff up and deleting files. Or, anyways, I just moved them around. Look, it'd be easy to say only about 5,000 games, but you can group them. Well, the main thing is to keep about 250 files in a folder. And I saw somebody on Atari Age did a really nice job of putting the files in there and going, you know, like AA, like the Dewey Decimal System, like AA through AF is the first folder, and AG through AL or whatever is the second folder. I just call them A1, A2, A3, A4. Some folders like you know, X and Q just have one folder, but if you have more than 25 files in there, I just put them in subfolders. It's pretty easy. Yep. Let's see. Hey, Dan, I have Bruce Lee problem. You do have that problem. Okay. Now, do you have that problem? Have you tried the two things? The first, obviously, I'm guessing you have not had the problem on a secondary controller like an 8-bit DOE or something. And have you tried the softer touch? Now, I would say the softer touch is like an Apple answer. You're holding it wrong. You know, if I lean left, if left is left. I think what they're saying, as we put it together, we'll try to understand this better. I think what they're saying is the design lends so that if you lean a little, it pushes this button. But if you're just leaning the least bit harder over and either just a bit up or down, it's going to tend toward a diagonal for you. You could say, stop helping me. But yeah, I'm curious what your experience is, Dan. What did you do? And have you mitigated the problem? And have you tried either of those? And how'd your experience change? Hello, Greg. Happy Easter to you as well. Thank you for popping in. Yeah, we're just, so I guess I've got it all dismantled here. So here's the, you just got here. Here's the base that has that shoulder button. And it's nothing more than just a little, there's no spring or anything. It relies on the micro switch to provide the resistance. And we have a single connector. We have this very simple board that consists of, here are the cardinal directions for the ring, plus, of course, the contact points, almost exactly like the CX40 Plus. Then you have your home and menu buttons on the back, and there's that shoulder button. And all the spring return for the fire button is, again, right there. Yep. Hey, James. James says, looks like a cool little unit. I didn't have one growing up. I had a 2600 instead. Well, then you would have, the 8-bit. Gotcha. Yes. The CX40 is the same. You're talking about the 400. Yeah. I get that. I probably had an 8-bit computer for longer than I had a 2600. Because it was my primary computer up until I switched to Amiga in 91, 92 era. Yeah, so I had an 8-bit computer for about 7 years in there, and it was everything. I used it all day, every day. Just watching because you like the show. Well, thank you, James. I missed that part. I didn't read that part of your. Thank you. Retro Gaming Lore. Hey, hello, John, from the ancient Roman town of Madrid, Spain. Oh, very cool. How neat. Isn't that cool what the internet can do? And people who would never get a chance to chat with each other and share their interests get to do that now. That's what I love about doing this. Yeah. Gatamp, hey there. 5200 games run well on the 400 Mini. They run well. Controller, as I pointed out in my review, if you've not seen that, I recommend you watch my review. If what they advertised in the manual, let me touch on that briefly since Gatamp asked about it. This isn't, my review is out. You can always read that. You can watch that, of course. But in the manual, they purport that if you plug in an analog controller, it will behave like the original 5200 analog controller. But in using that test cart where you can see exactly what's happening, even if you adjust everything down, all it's doing is treating them both like D-pads, or I should say digital inputs, not D-pads, right? meaning that the longer you hold it, the faster it accelerates based on that level of acceleration. And how soon after you let go does it auto center. If with a true analog stick, I should be able to move this far, and the control point is moved that far from center to 100%. But rather, if you lean a little bit, it just keeps accelerating. And that's not what you need out of that analog stick. And as a result, it just simply is not analog control. And so what you'll find is that it manifests as what people love to call lag, as latency. Well, it's not. It's logic that's incorrect, because like I played Pac-Man. If you push up, either on this or on this, my testing here is using an analog controller when I did it. When you press up, you end up with Pac-Man will not start moving for a moment. And it's because Pac-Man, while it used the analog stick, there was a dead zone. And that's something you can't configure in the Mini, is the dead zone for the 5200 stick. So when you push it full, you have to wait for it to get from 0 to whatever outside the dead zone is before it starts to send the command to move the character in that direction. And so it manifests as latency, when in reality, it's just translating controls, the same behavior if you use a D-pad. This is a long answer to your question, how do the 5200 games run? And what they do is they run great. The control interface is not utilizing an analog stick. And we know that it reads an analog stick because plugging in an analog stick when you power on is how you unlock the hidden games. It knows it's there. It's just not respecting the analog stick as analog. And from the manual, it sounds like that was their intent. They just simply have not done it. Jeff, look at you. Jeff, is that a membership? Thank you so much for that. Man, every little bit counts, and I'm so grateful to people that are willing to open up their wallet a little bit and contribute to something that's my passion that I give away for free, but I'm trying to make a full-time gig, and I'm so grateful for people like you. Thank you, Jeff. That's super, super kind. I'll stop rambling, but yeah, I'm so thankful. Let's see. Julius is saying, a lot of people saying the diagonals are way too sensitive. You're talking, of course, on the CX stick itself. I have not done a video specifically on the CX stick and addressed those, but since people are having troubles with it, I think it makes sense to do. I personally have not experienced overly sensitive diagonals. I guess what I need to do is I need to run a joystick analysis piece of software, because there were joystick tester programs already written for the 2600. I mean, for the Atari 8-bit, for these controllers to see. Like, I don't think, I guess you could address it in software, like how long is it pressed, but all that's going to do is cause intended diagonals to be delayed. Yeah, maybe it's going to be, maybe it has to do something with how this, not this ring, how all these pieces, how this is structured. I'm not sure. Again, I didn't experience it, but it's up to preference. It's not a CX40, and it's redesigned, which means it's going to behave differently. So I guess maybe in my mind is that it behaves exactly as designed, but feels different than a traditional CX40. And since this is something new in the skin of a CX40, most users' brains are likely anticipating it's going to behave exactly the way a CX40 did, and it doesn't. But it does behave correctly in my experience, so maybe it's just in how you use it. But I would certainly stop short of saying someone's using it wrong. You're using it the way you use it, and if you have that trouble, the nice thing is, look, if you have something like this, you can map every single button here. Every single button. In fact, it's actually pre-mapped. When you start, there's home, there's menu, there's the control, plus this is control, plus you have these pre-mapped to the, it's all there. It's all there. And so there's no reason to have a bad time with it. So if someone has a problem with the CX stick, I would say sell it to somebody like me who has no trouble with it and invest that extra 20 to 30 bucks or whatever to buy you something that makes you happy. Don't let the controller stand in your way of exploring the tremendous library that exists on the Atari 8-bit. That's my 2 cents for it. So, but I'm going to go back. I probably just wrote my video that I'll use to talk about the CX stick, you know? Let me catch up. Let me see. Hey, Lids is here. I didn't see you pop in. Big Dave, I got an 881 and used, yeah, me too. Not through tech school, but I wrote papers on Atari Writer all the way through early college. Yeah. I had a 1027 letter quality printer, and the apostrophe is backwards. Instead of being this way, it's this way. And my English teacher was furious with me. Like, you got to use the correct punctuation. I'm like, it's my printer. That's where it is. And so she was telling me she wasn't going to accept my paper because the apostrophe was wrong. Like, it was a typo. And I'm like, look, that's what the apostrophe renders as. I can't help it. So we got over it. Michael Rose, hello. I have to do more testing, but I just tried using iCode 4-port Atari joystick adapter with 400 Mini. Did you? Interesting. That's cool to know. Hey, Big Dave. John, do you have the joystick that came with the 64 Mini? I do. It's sitting over there. Tell me, why do you ask? And let me know. I know it's compatible. Dan Glover's asking about his PS4 controller. Works well with Bruce Lee. A lighter touch works 90% of the time with the CX stick, yeah. And you know, when you're playing, if you're used to leaning the stick hard, you're not going to be able to reprogram your brain easily to go, oh, well, be gentle. Because you're trying to get away from somebody. It's a rush, right? I get it, yeah. Yeah, Jeff accidentally hits either the top or the shoulder. The shoulder was the biggie for me, yeah. Hey, Zoiks! I pulled out my Hori EX2. Mapping is off for the buttons, but works fine. We can remap, so that's good. Michael saying also original Atari paddle controllers seem to be mapped and should work. Oh, with that iCode? Neat. And Big Dave just wondered if the 64 stick was any better, different than the... Well, I've not dismantled it, but I do have it, and it is compatible. I never took a look at that one, but I've got it. And I've got the what is that? The controller that came with the A500. I have that as well, which is also equally compatible. So. All right, let's see if we can put this guy together if I've preserved all the pieces. That would be good. So I suppose we need pretty much put this back together first. So we have the, where's my boot? Here it is. So the boot goes on there. And I think there's a correct orientation. Not certain, but maybe it should pressed in farther. Oh, I guess, is that it? Oh, maybe that is it. Well, we'll find out in a second. And then I need to have this in place. Drop this in. Is that? Oh, yeah, it's definitely using the sponginess of the boot. See here how that sits? So the central core of the stick actually rides up a bit. So when you lean, when you push, it wants to return. Do that and simulate it when when it's got some torque on it, it wants to return to center. So yeah, no need for springs or anything, but you do have to have, how do I get this to be straight and not screw it up? I just feel like oops. Look, there's only one way this can go. How do I guarantee it stays in the right orientation and not screw this up? What am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, I figured this out. Okay, starters. So the boot, look, it has these little pins. Can you see that? Pin, pin, pin. And there are holes in the boot. So that's what keeps the boot from rotating. And there's only one way to do that. So that's the correct there. So that you can't rotate. Like once you have it, you can't do any rotation of the stick. That's how it keeps straight. Okay. What do we got? Hey, Power said, be gentle with CX40 is not a phrase I would ever even think to hear. Yeah, I remember ripping the boot off of these in the midst of, not these, but the old CX40. And I would have just the naked plastic center, the core of the stick, and have to take it all apart to put it back together. All right, so we know this has to be, how do we make sure that is absolutely centered? Because see how this can be in any direction. Oh, I know what does it. I bet it's the lid. Yes. So the lid of this, that's the wrong term, whatever it is, that handles the orientation for this central. So let's pull this out and I'll show you what I mean. I just like knowing how these things work when I'm playing a game. So it goes in here and there's only one way. Look at that. No. There's two ways. So you can go 180 on it. But like you can't sit it that way. You can't sit it that way. It's because it has these little notches here, 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 because it's like an X. You see that X? And that's got to be on this X. That's what keeps that straight. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Mike H. Hey, John. Hey there. How are you, Mike? Have you heard of a Super Sensi Expo next weekend? Large gaming event in Cincinnati. I have heard of it. I have never attended. I'm trying to get invited to more shows. I'm going to be going to the Long Island event later in the year in August. I'll be going to SFGE in Atlanta. I always have done that for years and years and years. I would love to travel to more events. I think as the channel grows a little bit, I'll have more opportunities to do that because, I mean, the best part of doing this, quite honestly, is the connection with people. And to get out and it's still rare that anybody goes, aren't you that guy from the internet channel? Something that happens so rarely. And, but when it does, I am so giddy. And I'm like, yeah, I am that guy. Yeah, why? I got caught in the elevator at SFGE last year, and a guy was already taking a selfie with me before he even said hello. He's like, that's the guy. He's talking to his wife. That was really weird. That's, it's a funny side effect, and it's not, it's in no way the reason I do this, but it's a really funny side effect. Let's see. What Long Island event? I think it's called Long Island Retro something. It's in August, the second weekend in August. I know the Midwest Classic is coming up. Yeah, and we actually talked to the Midwest. Who do we talk to? We talked to somebody about a convention earlier. Maybe it was this week in April or something. Next week, and we just couldn't come to an agreement. Because when I travel, I lose money. And I need to at least get, my travel there covered because this is my whole job. And if I don't have a job, then yeah, that's the one that didn't work out. It was Midwest. Is that what it was? Yeah. And at least I got to get covered for my travel and my food because otherwise I'm burning money that I don't have. I'm already living off of savings. So anyway, all right. So we figured out how that works. So the boot in place, I think the easiest way to assemble this, I'm sure they have a nice jig to set this all up and put it together, but I don't. So let me make sure I get this straight. So this has one little flat side, and I remember it was up. I don't think it matters, but I want to make sure just in case, I put it in the right spot. Yeah. No, I know it was you, Power. I wasn't going to blow you up in case you didn't want to admit it was your fault trying to get me there. All right, so this goes over here. Look at that. Look how that just sits down. That ain't too shabby. That's pretty neat, I gotta say. I'll be dadgummed. Hey, aren't you YouTube dismantling a jerk? Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that nerd on YouTube who takes joysticks apart and thinks it's entertaining for somebody other than himself. It's totally me. Yes, I apologize. I'm that dork. There we go. These in place. So there's only two sizes of screws I'm finding. There are the 4 that hold the base to the top, and there are 6. 4 that hold this mechanism in place, and 2 that hold the PCB on. So I was looking at them, and again, economy of design. Why have 3 or 4 different pieces of hardware if you can get away with just a couple? Fewer pieces to source, fewer pieces to lose, more universally repairable. I'm a fan. There's that one. Power says I've got a few ideas for solutions later on. Okay. Outstanding. Lids. Great. Now I'm going to talk with a southern accent for the next 40 minutes. I come by it naturally. So I was born in southern Florida, but my family is from Missouri. And so between, the southern influence in Florida and the country influence from Missouri, I was brought up hillbilly, and it's not difficult. It ain't tough to fall into that kind of accent again, because so many people in my family kind of talk like this. And so I kind of talk like them sometimes. Yep. All right. So then the board needs to go on. So what's this little clip for? There's one little clip here. I mean, it's not for nothing. You see, it looks like it's to like to run a cable through or to attach to something, but I don't see what it goes on. Well, maybe it's just, I don't know why it has a notch in it. Maybe it's just what you see is what you get. It's designed just to hold that in place. Because nothing, it's not really aligned with the stick or anything, or the cable. I don't know. And if you joined us later, there's only 2 screws holding the PCB together. Once you have this mechanism in place, and so one more time, I know we looked at it taking it apart, but let's look. So here is the cardinal directions. Here's top, east, south, and well, west, east is upside down, and the south is down here, and then the button. So the ring lifts and pushes those. Can you see that? Maybe it pushes just enough to depress these little switches. So there's how the 4 cardinal directions are. The interesting thing, though, in looking at this from the perspective of, hey, are the diagonals too aggressive? This is designed somewhat differently than the CX40 Plus. But the board here is the same, pretty much the same mechanism. And I don't necessarily see, oh, I haven't put in, that's good English. I have not put this back on, and it goes, there's a pin for it. Where's that pin? There. That's not it. All right, this is, am I doing this right? Definitely goes this way. All right, dummy. I know it's got to be one of these 4, but there's no pin for it there. There, oh, it's this way. There, it's not a pin. It's a much taller one. It's right here. Okay, there's the cardinal direction. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, the CX40 had a similar PCB, and it had these contacts, and it had the same little silicone with the conductive pads. So I don't see how this is any more or less diagonally predisposed than the CX40 Plus. I wonder, I'm just thinking out loud, I wonder if the fact that we are cognizant of being careful not to touch these buttons, do you think maybe people are holding it or addressing it in a different manner, a different way to avoid pushing buttons, and that's causing them to move in directions? Because if you're not worried about the shoulder button or these top buttons, you might just claw it like a beast and then it's fine. But maybe if you're kind of, gingerly holding it in an odd way to make sure you don't push the buttons accidentally, maybe that leads people to move in directions that they're not. I would be curious if somebody who's having trouble here, somebody who's having trouble, load Bruce Lee on your memory stick, play it from there, and disable every button. Remind yourself that every button is inert. You only have a fire button, and then see what your experience is. I'd be curious to know if it's not the something mentally. I'm not making excuses for the hardware, but I'm wondering if maybe there's something mental about the fact that I'm being careful not to push other buttons that's leading me to not hold the stick or move the stick in the way that I'm accustomed to. I could be reaching, but I mean, it's a variable. You have to eliminate variables and see. Big Dave said maybe the 64 stick would be easier to use with the 400 Mini. Yeah, I mean, and easier, I have no complaints. So, I mean, I'm not shifting gears. I have found that I keep these 2 side by side, and depending on what I'm playing, I'll pretty much always use this. And if I'm not, I'll switch and use this alternately. But most of the time, I'm just using the one that came with it. So, look, the great thing is nobody's forcing anybody to use this stick. It comes with it, but they made it so ridiculously easy to plug in damn near anything else that use the one you like, Thumper, hello, wonderful gamers. Happy Easter, button pushers. That's us. That's us. Have you gone to do the adventure Easter egg today? It's tradition on this day. All right, just 2 screws holding the... Oh, and they're highlighted for us. It's these 2. There's this one. Yeah. Just get that started. Get the other one after it. Hey, Rich, happy Easter back to you. The lower left corner still hurts my palm, just like back in the day. Well, that's a testament to its its ergonomics that are accurate. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, I mean, why would Play on Reinvent the Wheel? I'm sure they took whatever mold they made for the CX40 Plus and used that. I expect they used this exact same thing here. And then just changed the guts, right? All right. And then you plug this back in here. So there's one little ribbon cable, not a ribbon. I keep calling it ribbon cable. What do you call that? Wire block? I'm sure it has a technical name that I don't know. Get that plugged in. It can only go one way because that's keyed. Make sure it's in there good. Sorry, it's in there well. It's my hillbilly staying out. So where's the shoulder button? There's the shoulder button, and there's the shoulder. So when he goes in, look at that. That shoulder button just slides right down behind the external lever. So holding it together. That's the click. Yeah. I'm surprised there's nothing else in there that's providing the resistance and the return. Oh my goodness! What is going on? Crumhorn is handing out, he's Oprah Winfrey. You get a car, you get a membership. Oh man. Adirondack Virtual got a membership, Pizza Bagel got a membership, Steven got a membership, Doc the Butcher, Joe, Lloyd Davies, Manny. Hey Manny, you've been around a while. Brian got a membership. Kim Voss, Chris Voss, sorry, got a membership. Julio, my old eyes. Julio got a membership. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. That is so cool. So, hey, everyone has a membership. When I release videos, I release early. Those Friday plays, I usually put them out on Thursday to members and everybody on Friday. You get custom little emoji. You get a little badge by your name like you can see on Craig. And yeah, that's really cool. And if I say it right, lugubrious crumhorn. Got it. I think that's lugubrious. Unless it's a soft U, lugubrious. Either way, just like Mr. Crumhorn has that little, and the longer you remember, like you see next to Craig Lionheart, he's got a little orange there. They're progressive. It's really just a way to support us, and we love you for it. Thank you for that. That's super cool. All right, so we're just down to, yeah. We're just, assuming it all works, we're just down to reassembling this guy. Yep. Just drop these 4 screws in. Uno. Dos. Trace. 4. I'm going to switch out my bit to the slightly larger bit because these screws are a little more coarse. That's the right term for it, but you know what I mean. Lugubrious? Lugubrious? I'm going to say it's lugubrious. I'm going to say that's right. What is Thumper saying? 74 Atari kids. Really? That just tickles me to no end. Thank you for being here. Look, people come and go because people can the reason I do the verticals periodically is because people can discover it while they're spinning through shorts. And each time I do one of these, I get a few people subscribe because they're like, "What? There's a decrepit, aged 1969 era dork that's screwing around with Atari stuff online, and I missed it." Finding people, I said it many times. It's finding people, finding your tribe, finding the people that like the things you like, and that's who I want to connect with. And this is just another way to do that. Should have named them Pac-Man Ghosts. Oh, what a missed opportunity. Let's pretend. I'll fix it in post. All right. So let's... No, we named the pads that. The screws are named Uno, Dos, Trace, and 4. The pads, as we put those back on, those are going to be the ghosts. So capitalize on it. I'm using it. Big Dave. Here's a 63 kid there, a 67 Xbox ISO. Yeah, nice. All right, so we have our little pads. There we go. We'll get those back on. So here's, oh, there's a little extra glue hanging off of this one. Look at that. Just tuck it under there. So here's Inky. There we go. Here's Pinky. And around here, there's Blinky. And Sue. Hey, George, it's taken you an hour to do this? Geesh. Well, here's the thing. If I was sitting by myself doing this, it would have taken me 20 minutes. But there are so many cool people here chatting, and we're talking. We stop and talk, and it ends up being me sitting here fumbling with something while we talk about something interesting. So there it took me an hour. Yep. Randy said 69 in the house. There we go. There we go. Damn, you're good, John. No way I could have taken it apart. You could have. Look, I'm sure you could have. I'm sure you could have. It's just, the nice thing is, I know that if I screwed it up, I can always go back and watch the replay of this live stream, play it in reverse and see what I screwed up, right? Oh, thank you. George said cool people is an acceptable excuse. Wonderful. Oh, so Jinkman, you've not yet tried another joystick. Do you have, any USB joystick that you can try with it? I'd be curious to know, and you can get back with me in chat or on Discord or never. You're not obligated, but I'd be curious to know if your experience changes when you try other sticks, because it's all up to preference, It's all up to preference, really. Waiting for the Amiga Maxi now. Yeah, I would much rather have. Here's my prediction. If the 400 Mini is successful enough, if they move enough units, from the beginning, people were like, why'd they do the 400? That's dumb. Well, the 400 is the first Atari 8-bit computer, period. The control, if you're going to have something with a keyboard that doesn't work, why not use a keyboard that barely worked in the first place? It's iconic, whereas things like the 800XL are very kind of, I don't want to be rude to it, kind of samey. It's black and white, black and gray, or black and tan, whatever. It looks much more like other computers, whereas this is very definitively this. You know what I mean? And my dream would be an 800 Maxi. However, if you're going to shoot for the highest impact, my second preference would be a 130XE, because that was my favorite 8-bit computer after the 800. And it's the beefiest one that was commercially available, other than I guess the 1200XL was comparable, but I love the 130XE. And then finally, what makes the most sense, if the 400 Mini sells enough, is an 800XL Maxi. The 800XL is, I think, outsold the 400 800 because the price had dropped. It had 64K out of the gate. And everybody and their cousin had one of those. Even people that didn't have any Atari before then would get an 800XL because it was a really powerful computer for the cost. And I think if they make a Maxi, that's probably what they'll Maxi it, That's probably what they'll do. Let me catch up on some chat here. Jinkman, I do have 8-bit dough sticks. You'll try them. Cool. If you get a chance, let me know. Find somewhere and chat with me, and we'll talk about it. Hoping the Hyperkin Trooper 2 worked. 400 Mini. It doesn't. Yeah, I've read that it doesn't. Now, I don't know if it doesn't work or it's not mapped properly, because you can always remap it. Because I do know that when you plug this into a computer, this is not button 1. I got some angry messages and comments. I plugged it in the computer and it didn't work. And I'm like, whoa. Define didn't work. What do you mean by that? Well, when I push the button, it doesn't button. Like, okay, how can I make button 1 button 5? Or I'm like, you can't. But in whatever software you're using, you're watching this, you probably know, you can map it. You go into Stella or Altera or MAME or wherever you're playing and go, all right, fire button will be this. Even if it's button 4, nobody cares. It's remapping. So maybe it's the case that the Trooper, you got to do some remapping to make that one button it has, or however many buttons it has, this be the actual fire button. That's my guess. That's my suspicion. Jinkman says, those people that say it's dumb are dumb. I hate judgmental evaluations of things in general, Jinkman, because it's dumb. First of all, it's dismissive of anyone who likes it just because they like it, which is, that grinds my gears in the first place. And then you have the avenue of, when you say something sucks, that is of no value to me. You got to tell me why it sucks. Why is it dumb, right? If I go, this X-Acto knife is stupid. Like, all right, why? Why? Is it not sharp? Or are the ridges not in the right place? Or are the blades not interchangeable? Or does it dull too quickly? Because you need to tell me why you judge it to be stupid. Because the thing that bothers you may not bother me. So it's worthless to just say that's garbage. Garbage in your perception because of XYZ, that's constructive. But, I mean, you live here on the internet with me. You know that people just love to sow animosity and troll around and go, that's stupid, that's dumb, I hate it, that's garbage. And I'm falling back in my southern accent stuff here, but you've got to give. That's what we try to do at GenXGrownUp with our reviews and on the podcast when we talk about movies and stuff. We don't say that movie was bad, moving on. We say, I found that movie to not be what I was expecting. Here's what I didn't like about it, because that's helpful. Now you're like, oh, well, you didn't like how it was paced? Pacing is not important to me. Or you didn't like how the score was? Well, the score is less important to me. Or, oh, you didn't like the acting? Well, acting's the most important. So now I understand and I can use that to inform my own decisions. Criticism without observation and analysis is worthless criticism. So all that from people that say it's dumb are dumb, and I agree with you. See, George, that's why it's taken me an hour to take this apart and put it back together, because we stop and go off on tangents that are fun. Joe was saying, I wish there was a modern 100% Atari XL rebuild. Now, you saw that RM800 XL that Revive Machines was going to do. I think because of these things, they got a cease and desist. In fact, they got my video taken down where I was just talking about it and saying it's coming. It got removed. So... yeah. XL Maxi with legit cart slot, that would be spectacular. I would say I wouldn't expect a cartridge slot, but since PlayOn is now working with them and they did the 2600 plus, then you'd have that compatibility issue of having to rip the cartridge to play it. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Playing cartridges would be great because I got a stack of them. Yeah. Did anyone type in the Atari 8-bit programs that were in the back of the... Did we? Oh, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hold on. I gotta get my book. One of my mini books. Let's get this one and this one and this one. Here's a few books. Sorry, could you hear me? Okay. Here are. This is what passes for my nerd street cred. The fact that I still have my old Atari books from back in the day. So yeah, programs. And look, what I'm dying to try is now we know that you can take that virtual disk that's created on the 400 Basic, and you can bring it into Altira's disk reader and extract that file or put that file in. So here's what I want to try. I want to try to use my phone's optical character recognition to scan this page, make that a text file, dump the text file back into the disk, and then I will have typed in this program and run it. Oh, that would be amazing. Do you remember typing these things in and screwing it up and going back and trying to find the errors? And if it wasn't a straight up error, then it was, just a typo and something crashed. And so that's this one. That's the Atari graphics book. That's where I learned how to do graphics. There's, remember Compute magazine? There's Compute's first book of Atari. It's also laden with reference stuff and programs that you can type in. All that same stuff. What did the springboard off of? Who asked me? Did you ever? I'm catching up. Somebody was asking. I'll catch up with it. Anyway, Simon says, glad to catch another live. Yeah, I love them. What's the best CX stick in your opinion? The CX40 Plus is great, but it's 9-pin. So really the CX stick is my go-to for emulation now because I can just use this button and it seems to work great for me. I know some people don't like the diagonals. No issue for me, but that's the one that I'm most fond of right now because I use it in the other room. on my computer to play games. And here's my Compute's first book of Atari games. Look at that thing. It looks like a full-on combat clone there. And this is just page. Look at these things. What a nightmare. That is, look, this is machine language. You're just typing in machine language. Doing optical character recognition with that would be so much. And what are we making? We're making like a super breakout thing. Chiseler, it's called. Yeah, how much fun to just take these old books, scan them in, and it's like you typed them. Yeah. Oh, so there's my latest tangent. Let me try to catch up with that. Xbox said, I'll have to try that. Did you say you can only remap controls for games you add? That's right. That's right. It was a criticism that I had in my review, and I would like to be able to map controls for the included games. It's a minor nitpick, though, since you could always just add the game yourself and you re-add it, and then you have remappable controls, but you can't remap for games that are pre-installed, which means Star Raiders 2, you must use the controller. Well, no, that's not true. You can use the keyboard. That's not remapping. That's already pre-mapped. So, but let me catch up. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Michael said, by the way, I just tried to play Mule in the 400 with the iCode. Found the original CX40s. While the joystick input worked, the button presses on the original joysticks didn't run. Well, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Craig said, I didn't like the nail color John had in his video. He should really use sparkly nail polish. You know, you can't make everybody happy. Let's see. George says, why does our government get to run a legal protection racket, but then they get mad at the mod when they do the same thing? Oh, yeah. I hate filing taxes. Oh, apparently it's tax time for George. I got to file mine, too. Yeah. Randy said, that brings me back. Dan, those books, and that's not all of them. That's just some of my books. That's the ones I could grab at a moment's notice. These beauties. Yeah, they're a delight. I got some magazines laying around, too, I think. And let's look at the year on these. I don't know what even the year is. Let's see. Probably inside somewhere in the front. Compute Publications. Here we go. You might see it before me. Oh, there we go. 1983 Compute Publications for this one. So they're probably all early 80s. Yep. Jinkman, I typed in so many programs from magazines. OMG. Yeah. And we were just talking about it the other day on our podcast recording. This comes out this coming Thursday. Even if you did it right and fought with it, it wasn't until next month when they published the corrections. And you're like, it wasn't me at all. Now, it was usually me, but sometimes it was me and a typo that was in the magazine. Oh, Michael Rose, I have that same stack of books. Man, okay, hold on. While we're doing show and tell, let me see what else I've got. Hold on. This is fun. Sorry. Hey, if you're not interested, go away. We finished the controller. Yay, that's done. So, hang on a second. Let's see. Oh, that's a beast. Let's see. That. This. That's almost the end. Okay. I don't know if this Mike's even picking me up over here, but I'm talking. All right, let's move these. All right, show and tell. Let's see what old Atari stuff I have. This is, yeah, again, this is dork street cred. It's like, man, you were an OG Atari. Oh yeah, I wasn't. Now tell me I wasn't an OG Atari. Let's see. John, do it live. Look, if I proof of concept, then I'll try to do it live. If it's a wash, I'm going to try with a simple program, and then maybe I'll try to do it live, you know? Let's see. Randy did that for hours. Yeah, wouldn't it be fun to OCR those things? Definitely, Greg. Jinkman said, I remember a decent Tempest clone from a magazine. Cool. Is this the Long Island event you mentioned? If you try to put a link in, it wouldn't come through, but it's second week of August, if it's that the one you're talking about. Yeah, all three of the GenXGrownUp guys will be there. How many hours did I spend typing those magazines and book programs? Compute books were amazing resources. Yeah, they were. What was the other? Even Compute later, they had lots of... They wouldn't always have everything. They'd have the Commodore version, the Atari version, the Apple version. But then sometimes they would only have a version for a couple, and Atari sometimes wouldn't be included. But, you know, you get what you get. Let's see. Foxy Channel. Buonasera, John Belichisti Manuali Basic. I don't know if I butchered that probably, but it sounds something nice about something manual, typing in something in BASIC or whatever, but I'm happy you're here. Michael still got his old computes. Timex Sinclair typing those things. And my buddy had a TI 99 4A. So anyway, this is just rambling, but what's this tucked in here? My Blue Max manual. All right, we'll get to that. The things you find. Yeah, more programs to type in. Explanation of how graphics works. Plotting. How to draw shapes in graphics modes, things like that. This is how I learned everything about how to program BASIC on my Atari computer. Yep. Graphics mode 7 was the one I used most. And then, so here's my Blue Max manual. You know what that means? That means John actually bought Blue Max. There you go. Look at me supporting Synapse. That was rare, by the way. Look at that thing. There's Blue Max. Let's see what else we've got here. Mark says, I shouldn't be here. I had, and nowadays collect, a Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I never have played with a ZX. We call it ZX here in the States, but yes, I know it's ZX. Would love to. Catching up. A 3-hour stream with manual, says Jeff. Yeah. Randy says, I bought a lot of Antic. Yeah, Antic. I liked Antic better than Analog, but Compute as well. Yeah, Analog was fine. The 600XL. That was the junior of the, the junior of the 800XL. The 130XE had the 65XE, I think. Is that was? Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and he is a good friend of mine. Thank you for that kind contribution. $5 coming in from Jeremiah. He's like, John, if you're going to waste your Sunday afternoon tearing apart joysticks and looking at old books, here's $5. You clearly need it more than me. Games Ataris Play by Hal Glicksman and Kent Simon. $14. So this one, again, let's see, here's Numbers Away. Start typing. This is just awesome. Let's see. What else we got? Mubble Chase. Oh, it's a version of Snack Attack, it says. Here's instructions. Here's the beautiful thing about this. It explains what the heck. It's not just blindly typing. Look at this. Lines 1000 to 1100 are the title screen for the listings. Statements preceded by RIM appear in the listings. So I was able to learn what the program did if you couldn't figure it out on your own. This book explained to you what the program you typed in did, which is pretty nice. Let's see. Michael says I have a lot of items they might want to display. Powers like the nostalgia today. Damn, I love it. Poke 650 to turn off the load sounds in Atari Basic. There you go. Let's see, what do we have here? It's a manual for F-15 Strike Eagle Flight Operations Manual. So what that means, there's a second program I actually bought. Micro Prose. Oh. Look at that. You think Star Raiders uses some keyboard commands. Is this the Amiga program, or is this was it on Atari? Micro Prose 85. No, it's Atari. Okay, all right. Look at that. Would you just... Now, this is the keyboard for the 64 because it has a run stop button, but similar functions. You couldn't do this easily without a keyboard, could you? Holy moly, the cockpit display. This is when manuals were fully half the damn game. Look at this. Okay, there's that. I'm going to save this for last because that's fun. Apex, Salmon Run. So the Atari Program Exchange, that's where Caverns of Mars came from. Many of you if you're watching this, you probably know all this crap I'm going to say. The idea was that Atari wanted to encourage hobbyists to get their software published. So the Atari Program Exchange, you could submit your program to it, and if they liked it, they would help you polish it and then publish it. But the manuals were always these 3-ring things, the early ones at least, until they got older and cheaper. And it was like a regular release that had instructions and everything in this big thing. But I bought Salmon Run on cassette from my local computer software distributor. And Salmon Run is kind of a poor man's River Raid. And it has, the sound is really the coolest thing about it. Let's see. All right. Now we put on our eye patch and black hat for some bootleg instructions for Spelunker that I'm sure I photocopied at my mom's work or something off of somebody that actually... Truly, I was probably just copying somebody else's copy. I never probably touched the real instructions for Spelunker, though I love it. Oh, I'll catch up on chat. Steel Battalion controls. Yeah, man. Yep. Seeing that code gives me all the feel, says Christian. Christian, are you the same Christian that I just had the pleasure of greeting over on Patreon, Christian? If so, either way, hi, welcome, thank you. If so, doubly hi, welcome, and thank you. And finally, this is the treasure that I probably love that I have the most. So here we go. Ready? Here's my original Temple of Apshai in the box. The cassette version, because that's all I had at the time. And I think there's more in here even than the game, but let's see what we got. There we go. Okay, so a couple things. So I have my Star Bowl football is in there. But then, there it is. Here is my original Temple of Apshai 1981 cassette. Let's see what else they gave us in here. Hey, Steven. Happy Easter to you, too. Christian said, that's me. Well, thank you for that. Randy, tape saving and loading, always so crazy. Yeah, I remember we had the tape version of Zaxxon, and we would start it loading before we went to lunch. You know, my friend's mom or my mom would make lunch, and we'd go have lunch and come back, and then Zaxxon was... I think Datasoft did that port, if I'm not mistaken. Mark says, I did play 2600 games, which loaned from the video rental store, and now I have a plus with River Raid and a few... Nice. Nice. Lid's the Trash 80 girl. Trash 80 Model 3. That's the one I learned on in my junior high. Okay. George, this is a message for you. Have you serviced your heads lately? That's important. You got to check on that, buddy. Here we go. And we have a summary of play. Also, oh my God. Also known as people that don't want to read the whole manual, right? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. I never went on to Coco, but I never had a 2. 1 and 3 we used. I never had any of them, but here's my original. Oh my God. These are my personal Temple of Apshai maps. Can you believe that? Is this right? It's got to be. Unless it's a Dungeons and Dragons thing, but I mean, no, I think it's Apshai. I don't know what the T's are, but treasure possibly? So yeah, so if this came out, what did we say, 81? So 43 years ago, I wrote this map. and now 4 decades later, I'm live streaming to 87 people on the internet a picture of a map I drew with a pencil as a kid in my bedroom playing this game. That's just stupid cool. Okay, what else? And here's how to load. How to load Temple of Apshai. Do all this stuff. This is like the whole package. I mean, this is complete. Here's the manual. And how much is the manual? It's not a little bit. Look at all that. How many pages is that? Does it say? It's like a map of what's in every room. Room 25, room 26. This old artwork in there. Let me find other pictures. Just show me the pictures. I don't care about pictures, not words. Stupid pictures. Treasure key. Oh, I love this stupid old computer junk. Look at that. And I think that's it. Just a little... this was initially... It probably came in a case, and it was housed like that, I expect, but it no longer sits nicely like that. Put these back in there. I don't know if it'll stay that way, but I got all this stuff in here, so... All right, get it all packed back in this giant box. You know, we didn't really look at the box very much. Let's take a look at that. There's this guy. All right, so there's our box. What's on the back? Oh, I forgot it was a series, Dungeon Quest. Yep, Temple of Apshai. Book of Lore, command summary card, game program, data files, 1980. Yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. How cool is that? I'm behind on chat. Sorry. Craig was also a TRS-80 girl. Jinkman, I could be wrong, but I think there were 2 versions of Zaxxon. I wouldn't doubt it at all. When I was making some of my previous videos, I found there were like 5 versions of Dig Dug from 4 different publishers. I can't remember them all. There was a French one, there was Datasoft, there was Atari, or maybe it was 3 different publishers and 5 different releases across 4 different countries. That's what I found. Yeah. And often they would put a slightly different version on cassette and disc and cartridge based on the capacity of the media, right? Because cartridges were, I think carts were normally up to 16K. If even more than that, if your disc was more than that, they would pare it down, so. Let me see. Randy said my first program purchase was a cassette purchase of Caverns of Kafka. Yeah. I'm the real deal. Damn, you sure are nerdy, John. Yes. At least I'm not an Atari poser, right? So we can at least say that. Faxi said La Mappa. Yeah, there's my map. Yep. You mapped with Heroes Quest. Mark says, I planned on getting a 400 Mini, but after 34 and a half years, you got fired. I can relate, man. That's what started me down the path of full-time on YouTube, was getting fired November of 2022. And I've been full-time bleeding money since then, but loving every second of it. So Mark, I wish you the best of luck with whatever you do next. I'll tell you something I learned from this. This is totally not an Atari thing, but let me tell you, Mark, since you shared that with us, I have learned all my life, I believe the more money you make, the happier you are. And I made good money at my old job. I worked there for 15 some odd years. And I had a nice savings that I'm currently living off of, along with the income I'm making from GenXGrownUp to offset the loss. As I'm currently bleeding money, but doing the thing I love, the money cannot offset you enjoying what you do. It sounds like the most trite garbage you've ever heard. Like, come on, chin up, buddy. Have a good time. Don't worry, be happy. I don't want to be kumbaya, but I've literally learned that if you can do something you genuinely enjoy, at least if you're breaking even, it's enough. Don't consider, hey, I've got to go back and make the same money to be happy. You got to pay your bills. I get that, but I can't do this indefinitely unless GenXGrownUp grows more. And I'm prepared for maybe I can't do this forever. Maybe it won't grow enough. I'm okay with that. But right now, for the last year and a half, though I'm losing money, I'm having the best time of my life. And Mark, it might be a blessing in disguise. You don't know yet. So hang in there. I wish you the best of luck, pal. On to other things. Jeremiah. Did that with Heroes Quest, made the maps. Yep. It's sad when we can say things like 40 years ago I did this. Yeah. We were talking about that on the podcast the other day. Flashback, sitting on the floor, going through all of John's computer junk. Yeah. I wish I had more. I have a story about how this stuff got preserved. I didn't preserve it. A friend preserved it accidentally. It's a great story I'll tell some other time. But has anyone tried the CX40 stick to play MAME arcade emulator on PC? Are you talking the CX stick, this one? In which case, yes, it's great because you can map the controls where you want them. Yep, it works fantastic. Fantastically, as an adverb, I guess, should be the right thing. Beautiful art on the box. Yeah, I'm just leaving this here because it's the prettiest thing. I mean, the stick is nice, but that Apshai box is great. Has anyone tried? Yeah. Craig said that it's not work if you enjoy it. I mean, the sentiment I agree with. I will tell you, it is work. That baloney about if you can do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. You will work, but it's not work that we have been conditioned to know. Like, oh, gotta go to work. It's effort. It's coordination. It's time. It's investment of your own blood, sweat, and tears. But it's not the kind of work that's throwaway work, because while you are working, you are loving that work, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's not work like people, labor of love. There you go. Yeah, it's not work in the sense of like I gotta go to work. No, I have work to do. You know what today is? Easter damn Sunday. You know what I'm doing? something that could technically be qualified as my work. You know why I'm here? Because I love doing it. It's just fun. I like hanging out with you people. I love hanging out with playing with this stuff. It's just, yeah. All that to go back to Mark. I don't know if Mark is still here. There, he's still there. There he is. You're still there. All this was springboarding off of that. That really strikes home for me, Mark, and I wish you the best. I wish you the best. It was my first job, fired 2 weeks ago. Thank you for your kind words, John. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm not trying to inspire you. I'm just sharing my experience. I don't know. Mark, I would invite you to check out my vlog. I do every weekday, every morning, I do a video blog where I talk about this experience of what I'm trying to get done. Yeah, you can find it. You can check it out. You should go and visit our Discord server, which is GenXGrownUp.com/Discord. Tons of great supportive people, just like you're seeing in this chat. Very friendly, very helpful. It's a great place to decompress. It's a great sounding board. This last half hour has nothing to do with this CX40 joystick, and for that I apologize. If you're watching this replay, you are bored and gone by now, and I understand that, and it's okay. But yeah, sorry about that, Mark. Craig, I hope you're great. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, man, you've been very supportive in the time we've met. So power driven. If you visit the Discord server, you're gonna meet Craig over there. He's power driven, very active user. Jeff said back in the day, if you wanted a map, you had to map. That's right. That's my map. You saw the map. And I've got all my D&D stuff on the shelf too, with maps and characters I made up and stuff. Xbox ISO says, couldn't agree with you more, John. Thank you. I went through something similar career-wise 7 years ago. When I first lost my job, I was so stressed out. Soon realized life goes on and you will find a way. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Surround yourself with people that are positive and find something you like. You're going to be, Mark, it's going to be a good thing for you in the end. It's painful, and the feeling of rejection is garbage, but hang in there. You'll be okay. All right. How long have we done this? We've been on for an hour, or I have no idea how long we've been on live. Let me go look. Where does it tell me? This is my way of slowly telling you I'm going to stop soon. I don't know where it says how long we've been. I don't know, an hour or so, hour and a half. Okay, we have dismantled and remantled. Remantled? That's not right. Dismantled and reassembled the CX stick, the Atari 400 Mini's joystick. That's cool. I like the guts. I like seeing how it works. And now we know how similar and dissimilar it is from the other stuff that we have seen. An hour 23, says Jeff. All right. And I got my stack of books over here on the side that I got to put back in the box. I've had it laying there waiting to do something with it. And since we started talking, I figured I'll show you guys. Hey, thank you so much for being here. This has been a fun afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your what's left of your weekend and your Sunday. It's always a fun time hanging out. If you hate the vertical video, I get it. I hate it too. We do lots of regular horizontal, wide stream, live streams, regular videos all the time. But this is another avenue to try to grow. That's why I sometimes do these Hangout lives vertical, because it allows us to access people we otherwise might not encounter. Hey, Valentine's Eve, you popped in as we're popping out, but I'm grateful that you did pop in. We had a really nice time over the last hour and a half. David said, thanks so much. You inspired me to purchase the 400 Mini. Well, okay. I'm great. I hope you have a great time with it. If you don't like it, don't blame me. But if you do like it, I'll take credit. Lids, happy Easter. Tough Teddy said, thanks, John. Yeah, Tough. Thanks for being here. All right. Hey, have a great, again, rest of your Sunday, the rest of your weekend. If you watch the vlog, I'll be back Monday morning with another vlog, and it's a brand new week. We got more stuff planned. Yeah, the grind continues. We will keep on keeping on. Until then, I'll thank you once more for being here. For everyone who supported, put in a contribution or membership or bought memberships like you did. Thank you for that support. Had a great time. Have a great rest of your day and weekend. I've said that 5 times now. I still mean it. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.